The last time I spoke at DE was 35 years ago. I was young. I was in love with chiropractic. I'm still in love with chiropractic. And I wanted to really be so good for the people of DE. So what I decided to do is for 3 days, I fasted and I went on a silent retreat with myself. And the entire time, I drank tea. Unbeknown to me, that tea had caffeine. And I'm totally, I don't like the word allergic, but I'm a fire person. So caffeine is like putting gasoline on a fire. So when it was time to speak, I came out of 3 days of fasting, full of caffeine. I was like a rubber band that had been stretched so tight that the moment I opened my mouth, it let go. And I still remember people trying to get a booger out of their nose, being frozen in that position. Other people trying to scratch their head, being frozen in that position. And for the entire time, those people were frozen in space, because the intensity with which I came out was so powerful that people were frozen in space. So when it was all done, I walked out and I was like, wow, you want to know a way of wrecking your career as a public speaker? you want to tarnish your resume? Good job. So Didi Humber came to me in the lobby and he said, boy, great to have you with us. And that was 35 years ago. So I guess I get a good impression that day. I'm very grateful to be here. I'm very grateful to be invited by David Sarnoff and by Dee. But the biggest gratitude that I have in my heart and that I carried in my heart all those years is to my chiropractor. Jean Belaval, on my first visit, spoke his truth. If he didn't speak the truth, I wouldn't be here today. I would have not been in practice for 40 years, touching thousands of lives. And I would not have touched the lives of thousands of students and thousands of chiropractors throughout the world if he did not speak his truth. When I walked in, I saw the banner, "Nothing is bigger than life." Life University, Life West, Palmer, Parker, Sherman, Cleveland, Logan, named after great chiropractors, visionary chiropractors. I don't see Back Pain, Neck Pain University of Marietta. I don't see Neuromusculoskeletal University of Los Angeles. I don't see Pain University. Chiropractic is about life, the triune of life, Palmer law of life. Chiropractic adds life to years and years to life. The expression of intelligence through matter is a chiropractic meaning of life. The purpose of the adjustment, releasing the tiny rivulet of force that emanate from the mind to steer self into life. Life is motion, and motion is life. But when we travel the world, when you travel the world, because we're speaking to the choir here, what do you see? Back Pain Clinic, Dr. John Smith Chiropractors. Pain Treatment Center, Dr. Arthur Donald, chiropractors. What is the public perception of chiropractic as a whole, as a collective? That chiropractors are back and neck doctors. As a collective, that is, unless we have our head in the sand, that is the perception of the public about chiropractic and the powers to be. We have failed miserably in 125 years as a profession. And unless we recognize where we are, we can't go where we need to go. But there is hope. When I went to Sherman, they brought in the pioneers. At assembly, at old school assembly, Tom Gilardi brought the pioneers. Old people, late 80s, early 90s. And you may not know that, 3,300 chiropractors went to jail for chiropractic. 12,000 were persecuted and prosecuted 15,000 times. So they brought in the pioneers, and they stood up at the podium, frails. I went to jail for chiropractic. I was a student. What? I went to jail for chiropractic. And the judge gave me a choice. You can state that you practice medicine without a license, and I will fine you $100 and you can go home to your family and your children. Or you can maintain that you practice chiropractic, and you'd go to jail for a year away from your family and children. Your Honor, in all due respect, I practice chiropractic. When in the course of history do people ever went to jail willingly and by choice? What was it for? It was for a principle, always an invisible, intangible principle. Love, justice, equal right, civil right, human right, anti-apartheid, non-violence. People always went to jail by choice for a principle that is intangible, invisible, but they knew that that principle could improve the quality of human life. Those pioneers that spoke at the podium at Sherman Assembly went to jail for a principle that is intangible, that they knew could improve the quality of human life. So what is this principle? Do you think they went to jail because they thought they had a better mousetrap? Do you think they went to jail because they thought they had a treatment for backache and neck-ache? I think I'll go to jail, Your Honor. I have a natural treatment for backache and neck-ache. Your Honor, I have a natural treatment for various conditions, aches and pains, symptoms, sickness and disease. I'd like to go to jail for that, please. Do you really think that those people went to jail for that? Or did they go to jail for a principle? They went to jail for the life principle. And that life principle is that there is universal energy, universal force that enters the brain. The brain is a generator, transformer, analog, computers, and it transforms universal energy into life force, into phorone. Phorone is to life force what is watt is to electricity. And that life force flows through the body, through the central nervous system, to steer cell into life, to express life. Without life force, I'm just a pile of matter right here with all of my organs, all of my parts, all of my tissues, all of my cells, my nervous system, my spinal cord, my spine, but I'm gone. So how does life force, which is life energy, which is light, which is spirit, how does it travel? It travels in wave. All energy travels in wave, with a high and a low, a crest and a throw. And as energy enters matter, matter expands and contracts, depending on which part of the wave is entering matter. Stay with me for a second. Free flow of energy, free rate of expansion and contraction, ease, health, normal life expression. No flow of energy, no rate of expansion and contraction, death, rigor mortis. Decomposition, increased bacterial action. Alter flow of energy, alter rate of expansion and contraction, dis-ease, malfunction, loss of life expression. How does it spread itself? Hyper and hypo. Every single medical condition is always hyper or hypo. Hyperthyroidism, hypothyroidism, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, hyperglycemia, hypoglycemia. Degeneration, cancer. Doesn't matter. Always hyper and hypo. With now increased bacterial action and decreased immunity and immune response because loss of life. Restore flow of energy, restore rate of expansion and contraction, return to ease and the potential to heal, not necessarily tangible healing, because limitation of time and limitation of matter. You with me? That is the principle that they went to jail for. That is the principle that we work with in chiropractic. And unless we change our communication, unless we change our conversation, unless we change our linguistics, unless we change our dialogue, this profession will remain a neck and backpack profession to the public and to most of our profession, unfortunately. So it is upon us, upon all of you, to do the inner work, to work on your communication, to work on your dialogue, and to shift it into speaking the truth. My chiropractor on my first visit, listen to me, total presence, total connection with me. And when I was done explaining, and I came from the medical background, when I was done explaining my symptomatology, there is nothing that I can do about what's wrong with you. What I can do, however, is address what is right in you. You cannot fight darkness. You must turn on the light. You cannot fight disease. You must turn on life. 3 sentences spoken with clarity, conviction, charisma. 2 years in medical school, 1 year in a cancer service, ear, nose, throat, stomatology. I came from the medical background. And those 3 sentences ignited a spark in my consciousness. In that moment, he hadn't even touched me. In that moment, I knew that I was going to do whatever that man was doing. I found my reason for being, the calling of my soul, my purpose for life. He lit up a spark by speaking his truth. He didn't try to sell me anything. He spoke the truth. And when we hear truth, inside every human being, there is a liquid crystal oscillator. And it oscillates when we hear truth, when we witness truth, when we experience truth, when we read truth. He touched that liquid crystal oscillator. And a spark was lit, turned into a flame. I live in Colorado, so we do a lot of campfire. And I can tell you that a flame is not enough for a fire. You need to blow on it with the wind. And the wind came on my first day at Sherman College. On my very first day at Sherman College, Tom Gilardi stood in front of 90-some students who were pioneers. We were in the first class at Sherman. And he welcomed us all with his southern accent. And he said, "You're entering this institution to become doctors of chiropractic," which means teachers of a philosophy and science of life, because chiropractic is a philosophy of life and health and things natural. When I heard that my role as a chiropractor was to be the teacher of a principle in the science of life, it turns that flame into a roaring fire. 99% of our profession is practicing 1/3 of chiropractic, the art. Tom Gilardi gave me the insight, the vision, the impetus to practice the totality of chiropractic. Sure, deliver the adjustment, but communicate not as a lay lecture, not as a sell pitch, not as a way to get people, but as a way to give to people the very principle and understanding that changed my life in such a profound way. Reflect on your own life. The chiropractic principles, the philosophy, has affected my health, the way that I understand what health is. It has affected my relationship to symptom and symptomatology. It has affected my relationship to sickness and disease. It affected my relationship to the birthing process, to the dying process, to spirituality, to education, to ecology, to my own being. If I look at the totality of how that principle has affected my life and my family, it has transformed my life out of the cultural hypnosis that live out there, and the brainwashing and the indoctrination that live out there. That principle set me free as a human being. Over the 40 years that I practice, I have set people free in my office, not just through the adjustment, but through the principle, by sharing the principle out of the goodness of my heart. Talks on universal intelligence, 1 hour. Talk on innate intelligence, 1 hour. Talk on life force, 1 hour. The power of life force. Talk on the triune of life. Talk on the safety pin cycles. Talk on the 2 sides of birth, the 2 sides of dying. Talk about my wins and my loss as a chiropractor. Sharing my journey, my inner world, my preparation before I come into practice, and my losses in practice. Sharing so much of what we have to give to people. How hard is it for any one of you to stand in front of your people? And I'm not talking about 5, 6 people, 70, 80, 100 people every other week. And just sharing your story. This is what I understood. This was my state of consciousness. This is what I knew. This is what I thought health was. This is what I thought healing was. And as a result of understanding this principle, this is where I am now. This is what I have to offer you. You start practicing the totality of chiropractic, not by just giving a lecture in order to get people, but sharing yourself, not by mimicking what Walter Sanchez will do, or Didi Humber will say, or I would say, or Reggie Gold would say, or Sid William would say, but by going deep inside to understand the depths of that principle that people went to jail for. Ingesting it, digesting it, absorbing it so deeply that from knowledge it moves into wisdom because you touch the truth within yourself. And once you touch that truth within yourself, it will naturally unfold and express itself as you, with your own linguistic, with your own verbalization, in your own way. And you will be 100% authentic in sharing that message with people. We want to change the course of this profession. It is time to speak the truth about this principle and to speak it from within ourselves. We are moving out of the age of information into the age of consciousness. Information is no longer the game because anybody can have access to information at any time like anybody else. So people will start becoming attractors. The new economy is the economy of consciousness. Elevate your consciousness. Change your consciousness. Be the change. Live by example. You won't have to advertise. You won't have to promote on Facebook. You won't have to do it on Instagram. People will come to you because of the resonance and the morphic field that you create from within yourself that radiates out. Easier said than done. This requires inner work. This requires awareness. This requires a drastic change and a disconnection from the rest of society. Turn off the media. There is no news to be had. There is no sport event to look at. It's all the same stuff, negativity, poor consciousness that has plagued humanity for centuries. What we're witnessing today in the politics was happening in the Roman Empire, in the Egyptian Empire, in the Renaissance. There's nothing new under the sun. Crime, rape, fire, natural disaster, bribery, corruption. Turn off the TV. It's going to be hard because most of you in America are addicted to it. Recognize your addiction. Move on to feeding yourself with a consciousness of life, of healing, of love. What is health? What is core healing? Is there a distinction between core healing and healing? And impregnate yourself with that consciousness. You want to still to watch TV to relax? Tune in to Gaia, Gaia.com. See the level of consciousness that is there. See the chiropractors that are there on those programs with that level of consciousness and the impact that they have on the world. The Joe Dispenza, so many others. Turn off the tube, turn inward. Above, down, inside out. Universal forces, universal energy, information, energy full of information, flowing through, creating a torus, a field of energy around you. Dive deep into your heart. The heart has an electromagnetic field 5,000 greater than the brain. Get out of your mind. It is not in the intellect. It is in the heart and in the consciousness. And from that place, share your message to your people. In no time, people here, people at Mile High, people at New Beginning, people at CalJam, moving in that direction. The field that will be created in consciousness and the morphic field will just take form and start to explode. It is that simple. But it is up to us, up to you, to make that transition. Many of you are many years in practice, comfortable, made a good living. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of the security. A secure life is a dead life. Do the work. Go inward. Shine your light. Make your practice be a beacon of light in your community, a point of light in your community. When I start speaking, early on, sure, I was explaining the spine, I was young, the nerve, it goes to the organ, you can see if we move a vertebrae, this will happen. Great. Did not transform lives. When I start speaking the truth about chiropractic, people's lives were transformed. Let me pose this question to you. Does the world today, does humanity today need another therapy? Even if it's a natural one. Would one more therapy make a difference in the world today? There is thousands of them. Every year there is 100 more coming out to be the next shiny star, the cure-all. Give it enough time, it's a fallen star. What the world needs today is a new GPS for living. What the world needs today, what humanity needs today, is a new philosophy of life. A rudder, a compass to live life by. And chiropractic philosophy and science is that rudder, that GPS, that compass. That's the work that needs to be done. Thank you so much.